If I were sitting in a GP seat, I would ask the LP to actually start the meeting by framing up the program, because I feel like that sets the course of the pitch to some extent, the fit. Ask the LP to talk about themselves for a couple of minutes just to give you an understanding of their program. You need to know check size, like how much of a problem are you solving for with this call, right? Is this going to be a person who can anchor you at $30 million? Is this an organization that writes $2 to $3 million checks? Two totally different LP profiles there. And again, it kind of builds out the dossier that you yourself have to build, the universe that I talked about before, the LP universe. And then the length of process, is this something that happens over 6 months? Cheryl made a really great roadmap before on the type of investors. Is this going to be a couple of meetings? Is this going to be you flying to Europe to have meetings with a board that meets quarterly, right? And so it's those sorts of things that you need to really understand. It's as much a meeting for you as it is for the LP.
Well, your first meeting, you definitely want to get the question out, how often has your team committed to first-time managers? Because there's a lot of LPs who just really do want to start inventorying what's coming out in the marketplace, but may not be an investor till Fund 3 by their sheer governance or staffing capabilities. So I think the additional questions that often keep coming up at different meetings, because it's been a really evolving liquidity framework recently, is what is the pacing program for PE, for your PE program? Because some managers have been out of market during this vintage because of liquidity not being circulated quite so much from distributions. And so really understanding where LPs are in their pacing. Some are underweight their private equity, some are overweight. And then you want to understand another question I often ask and expect to be asked as well. How do you construct your portfolio? Where are you overweight? Where are you underweight? And then that's in specific sectors, especially if you're a sector specific fund. Very helpful. The final question I'll offer, which is just really telling and a really important one to understand, because it's often not as mechanical, but it can be, how does what you do fit into their goals? And there's often multiple goals being hit at certain times. Sometimes it's more growth in the portfolio. Sometimes it's moving up to more cash flowing companies. It's there's lots of different goals that can be met. So just understanding how you're mapping.